So hello, here we were preparing for EPFO. We have already completed principles of accountancy and we have already completed auditing as well. As well as their multiple choice questions are already being done. Their flashcards are also being done, and at the same time PDFs are available on the Telegram. If you haven't joined the channel yet, then go and join it, or if you don't have the link, then you can ask for the link. I'll provide you with the same. And now we have few more topics that are left, core topics, that is your insurance, social security, labor laws, industrial relations, and so on. So we'll try to complete all of these topics using question answer only. Here also entire labor laws are being covered, and these are around 400 questions, and in these 400 questions we have taken the entire labor laws. So we'll do these questions. Let's start without wasting any time. The PDF will be there on the Telegram. Under the Industrial Dispute Act, which of the following is not included in the definition of industrial dispute? So first is dispute between employer and workman, dispute between employer and employer, dispute between workman and employer, or dispute between workman and workman. So the answer is here 2. That is dispute between employer and employer. Now industrial dispute under the Industrial Dispute Act refers to dispute between employer and workman or between workman and workman concerning employment, non-employment, terms of employment or conditions of labor. Disputes exclusively between employer are not industrial disputes under this act. Okay, so that is not there. Then the work committee under the Industrial Dispute Act is constituted for establishments employing at least how many workmen, unless the appropriate government orders otherwise. So these are the options: your 50, 75, 100 or 200. So your right answer is 100 is the least number that you need. Now section 3 of the Industrial Dispute Act provides that the appropriate government may direct constitution of works committee in industrial establishments where 100 or more workmen are employed. The committee promotes amity and good relations and discuss matters of common interest. So what is the number? 100. Last come first go, that is LCFG. We have done it kya? Last in first out, as well as we have done FIFO, first in first out. Jab we were doing what? Accounting. So you can go and have a look at these videos as well, available on the same channel. So last come first go principle in retrenchment is statutorily provided under which section of the Industrial Dispute Act? Section 25F, 25G, 25H or 25M? Answer is section 25G. Section 25G of the Industrial Dispute Act enjoins the employer to retrench in the order of last employed first, that is the LCFJ principle. Deviations are allowed only for valid reasons with recorded justifications. Then retrenchment compensation under section 25G as per the Industrial Dispute Act is calculated as 7 days wages for each year of service, 10 days wages for each year of service, 15 days wages for each year of service, or 30 days. So the answer is 15 days wages for each year of service. Section 25F requires the employer to pay compensation equal to 25 days average pay for every completed year of service or any part thereof in excess of 6 months upon retrenchment. Then under the Industrial Dispute Act, layoff compensation payable to a workman is normally 50% of basic plus DA, 100% of wages, 30% or no compensation for layoff. So is there any compensation which has to be provided in case of layoff under the Industrial Dispute Act? So the answer is yes. This is the requirement, that is 50% of basic plus DA. So layoff compensation is typically half the basic wages plus dearness allowance, that is your DA, dearness allowance, for period of layoff. Eligibility and exceptions are prescribed in the act. Which of the following constitutes an unfair labor practice by an employer as per the 5th schedule to the Industrial Dispute Act? Recognition of a registered trade union, victimization of a worker for union activities, entering into bipartite settlement, or filing a reference to the appropriate government. So the answer is victimization of a worker for union activities. The 5th schedule lists Unfair labor practices, victimizing a worker for union activities or dismissing for union membership, are unfair practices attracting statutory consequences. Then under the code on wages, as consolidated wages generally excludes, क्या exclude करता है इनमें से wages में? Basic pay, DA, reimbursement of special expenses, travel allowance, that is your TA, or retaining allowance. So the answer is reimbursement of special expense, that is your traveling allowance. The unified wage definition focuses on remuneration payable for work, reimbursement of specific expenses incurred by the employee, like traveling allowance, are typically excluded as they are not remuneration for work. Then the payment of bonus act, minimum bonus percentage to be paid to eligible employees is कितना है? 5%, 8.33, 10 or 15. So answer is second, 8.33%. The payment of bonus act specifies a minimum statutory bonus of 8.33% of salary wages for eligible employees, subject to ceiling and other conditions are there, but the percentage is what? 8.33%. Which act requires employer to maintain standing orders for classification of workmen and disciplinary procedures? Industrial Dispute Act, Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act, Trade Unions Act, or Contract Labor Act? So answer is Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act. The Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act requires employers to define and publish standing orders outlining classification, क्या क्या चीज़ें, working hours, leave, shift, termination and disciplinary rules for workmen, subject to certification by certifying officer. This is where Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act. ठीक है, all of this is in Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act. Then under the Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act, who is primarily responsible for welfare facilities of contract workers if the contractor fails? So principal employer, contractor only, government or local municipality. So principal employer. The CLRA Act, that is your Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act, casts certain responsibilities on the principal employer, including providing welfare facilities, example canteen या restrooms. Where the contractor fails, the PE can be held liable for defaults by contractor. Then under EPF law, the employer provident fund contribution rate basic statutory is 8% of wages, 10%, 12 or 14. So answer is 3, that is 12% of wages. The standard employer contribution rate under EPF scheme is 12% of basic wages and dearness allowance. A portion is allocated to EPS scheme pension subject to statutory conditions. Then the employees pension scheme came into operations in which year? ठीक है, employees EPS employee pension scheme came into operation in which year? 1965, 71, 95 or 2000. So the answer is 1995. So EPS was instituted in 1995 with earlier legislative and administrative antecedents to provide pension benefits to employees under the EPF administration. Then EDLI, that is Employee Deposit Linked Insurance, provides death benefits to, ठीक है, only retirees, nominees of deceased active members, employer's family by discretion, or none of the above. So the answer is 2, nominees of deceased activities members. So EDLI, that is Employees Deposit Linked Insurance, provides a lump sum insurance cover payable to nominees, legal heirs of the EPF members whose death occurs while in service or during membership, subject to scheme limits and rules. Then which section of EPF and MP Act empowers the EPFO to determine the dues? Section 7A like procedure, Section 5, Section 7A procedure under enforcement, Section 14 or Section 19. So answer is Section 7A procedure under enforcement. So Section 7A procedure under EPF law deals with determination of dues, inquiry and issues of orders by the competent officer following inspection or inquiry. Then under the Payment of Wages Act, maximum permissible deduction from the wages are limited. so as not to reduce wages below 25% of wages, 33% of wages, 50%, or no fixed percentage is there. So the answer is 50% of wages. The Act provides that deduction should not reduce wages below 50%, where there are multiple deductions but specific categories and limit apply. Ensure the statutory forms and provisions are absorbed. तो कितना है 50%. Under the Minimum Wages Act, who is empowered to fix and revise minimum wages? So central government alone, appropriate government, that is your central or state government, employers association, or judiciary. So answer is appropriate government, that is it can be your central as well as your state government. Appropriate government, central for central employments and state for state scheduled employments. Fixes minimum wages. Central government issues minimum rates for specified employments and schedule. Under the Maternity Benefit Act as amended, maximum paid maternity leave for a woman is 12 weeks, 20 weeks, 26 weeks, or 40 weeks. So answer is 326 weeks. The Maternity Benefit Amendment Act increased paid maternity leave to 26 weeks for the first two children. With certain conditions, later birth attracts different entitlements. ठीक है, for the first two children, Maternity Benefit Act increased paid maternity leave to 26 weeks. The POSH Act mandates constituting an internal complaints committee in every workplace employing. Now, what is the minimum condition? Any number of employees, 10 or more employees, 20 or more employees, 50 or more employees. So the answer is for 10 or more employees. This is again one of the PYQs. Earlier also this question was there. ठीक है, तो आंसर इज 10 or more employees. The POSH Act prescribes that every employer of a workplace with 10 or more employees must constitute an ICC to address sexual harassment complaints. Otherwise, the local complaints committee handles such matters. Which ILO convention among the following has India not ratified as of latest ratifications? तो C29 forced labor, C100 equal remuneration, C85 freedom of association, और C11 that is discrimination. This is International Labour Organization. ठीक है, ILO. तो C87 that is freedom of association. India has ratified most core convention except C87 freedom of association, primarily due to constitutional and administrative complexities. India has ratified C98 right to organize and collective bargaining. Under the Factories Act, which welfare facility is mandatory where 250 or more workers are employed? Canteen, crèche, ambulance room with first aid facilities, or welfare officer? So answer is 1, canteen. Canteens are required where 250 or more workers are employed, and ambulance room is mandated at 500 plus workers. Crèche at 30 plus women workers, and welfare officers typically 500 plus workers subject to statutory threshold. तो सबके लिए क्या क्या conditions हैं, that also we have seen. For canteens 250 or more, for ambulance we have seen 500 plus 1, that is 500 plus workers, then creche 30 plus women workers, and for welfare officers 500 plus workers. So you have to keep in mind all of these conditions for different categories. Then the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code introduced the role of inspector, existing role only, inspector cum facilitator, labor code, or social security officer. So answer is inspector cum facilitator. The OSH code modifies the inspector role to an inspector cum facilitator, combining enforcement with guidance to help establishments comply, reflecting a facilitative approach. Under the Payment of Gratuity Act, the minimum qualifying period of continuous service for gratuity is 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So the answer is 5 years. Under the Gratuity Act, an employee is eligible for gratuity after 5 years of continuous service, except in case of death or disablement, where the condition may be relaxed. Under the EPF rule, contribution of EPF is required on which of the following components of wages generally? Basic pay and dearness allowance, that is a DA, bonus and overtime, house rent allowance, travel reimbursement. So basic pay and dearness allowance. EPF contributions are ordinarily based on basic wages and DA, that is a dearness allowance, inclusion of other allowances depends on whether they are universally, ordinarily, and necessarily paid judicial test. Then which of the following statements about fixed term employment under the Industrial Relation Code is correct? Fixed term employment is illegal. Fixed term employee must be given parity of wages for same work as permanent employees. Fixed term employee have no access to social security, or fixed term employment automatically converts to permanent after 1 year. So the answer is 2, that is fixed term employee must be given parity of wages for same work as permanent employees. ठीक है, then the IR code recognizes fixed term employment and provides that fixed term employees should not be paid less than a comparable permanent employee for the same work, ensuring parity. Under the Child Labour Act, the minimum age for employment in non-hazardous occupation is 12 years, 14 years, 15 years, or 18 years. So the answer is 2, 14 years. The revised laws prohibit employment of child below 14 in all occupations. Adolescents 14 to 18 may be engaged in non-hazardous work subject to restrictions. So that's it in this. We have already covered a lot of portion. If you are new to this channel, go and have a look at the Telegram channel. You'll find a lot of PDFs for the exam. At the same time, if you have any other doubt, do let me know. I'll try to solve it or provide you with the right resource if you need any resource. So in the next we'll start with question 26. In this we'll do itna hi. Although we have a lot to cover, but we'll try to cover it before 30th. So that's it. All the very best and thank you.